Tell us a story.
Yes, tell us a story.
Alrighty, we are going to start our day. We're a little late getting started, but we are letting the GO4 warm up. It's not as cold, just bone-chilling cold. It's not bone-chilling cold like it was just, I'd say, yesterday. But it's a little warmer. Things are slowly receding, and that's good. But I remember back, story time. I remember back, like I told the story about swallowing those lead pellets. Ping, ping, ping. But anyway, swallowing those lead pellets, there was something else I remember. Even earlier, way up before that, my grandfather owned and ran junkyards. Had junkyards way out in the woods, and I mean had some really old stuff. I think it's part of why I was really interested in automobiles and just mechanical things in general. But he moved off of that, moved to a house closer in town, more in town, and my uncle, his wife and all the kids, all my cousins and stuff moved into that and lived in it for years. This was way back, I can't remember the date, 60s, maybe early 60s, something like that. And they had different stuff, and I'd always go out and fiddle and whatever. Well, he showed up, my uncle showed up with a, I guess it would be like the great-great-great-grandfather to like a pit bike. It was really small. I think it had 6-inch wheels, 6 or 8-inch wheels on it, very narrow, drum brakes, you know, the old stuff. But it was a 4-speed, but it was clutchless. So you just let off the throttle, back the throttle down, and clicked it one more, and it would go, and clicked it one more. And they had it. It was so small, it didn't come up to my knees. I mean, it was small, and I was a big kid. I was always a big kid, so it didn't come up to my knees. And I was riding it, and it ran out of gas, and there wasn't any gas in any small gas cans. And this was back, you know, like glass bottle Pepsi bottles we used to take and siphon out gas and fill up the Pepsi bottles and pour it into this tank. And it was just a little teeny tank, so it didn't run very long at all. We didn't have any gas left in any. We had to siphon it because there was no way to drain it. We had to siphon it. There was no gas left in any containers that were above ground, and I couldn't find any hose at the time that was, you know, just regular standard little garden hose or the little clear hose or vacuum, anything that I could put down in these tanks to siphon. The tanks that we had were gas tanks that were taken out of cars, and they were sitting on the ground, so you couldn't really get below. You know, you had to get that gravity feed thing going on. You'd siphon it up, and the gravity feed would pull it over into your container. Couldn't get the bottle lower than the gas tanks, and the gas tanks were full. Why a gas tank would be out of the car, sitting on the concrete or gravel full of gas? It's one of them things, who knows? So I found a hose, but it was a huge hose. It was bigger round than a heater hose for a heater core in a car. It was big hose. And I couldn't quite get my mouth around it, so I had to put my lips in it and try and suck it. And you were trying to vacuum out all of the large circumference air to get the gas up to a bend where you could get it down. Well, the hose was actually bigger round than the end of the Pepsi bottle, the glass Pepsi bottle. And I'm heaving and poking, and I'm pulling and siphoning and trying to do it and getting going and la 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 la. Well, I take a big breath in, my mouth fills full of gas, because I've got my head leaned way over, almost onto the ground with this thing pulled over, trying to do the way over siphon thing. My mouth fills full of gas, and I try and get to turn my head to spit it into the bottle and put this in, and put the end of the hose in the bottle at the same time. And yeah, you guessed it, I swallowed a huge mouthful of gasoline. I swallowed it, and then I couldn't get, then I'm trying to gag and yak and put this hose in there and fill this bottle and stuff like that. Well, I kind of got the bottle filled and I'm spitting gas and I'm coughing. Luckily, nothing went in my lungs. Of course, it all went into my stomach. And I got that bottle filled and I set that bottle down. I threw the hose over to the side and I was trying to heave. Again, trying to throw this up, get this out of my, because it was a big mouthful of gasoline. And I couldn't get it to come up. I couldn't get it to come up. I went into the house. Of course, they said, well, here, drink this. And they give me like a half a gallon of buttermilk or whatever to coat my stomach and system. Supposedly by their accord, it was supposed to glaze my stomach and keep me from it eating away at my lining or getting to my liver, I guess, whatever. So my liver's destroyed now. That's not the reason why it's destroyed, and alcohol isn't either, but it was the chemicals that the doctors gave me for the over 6 years of things they shouldn't have given me for only a few months. But anyway, so I drank this down, and for the next 6, 7, 8 hours, I was spinning and dizzy, and I was stoned off my ass on this gasoline, and just heaving. Look, squirrels. There's squirrels out there. How you doing, buddy? Heaving and just yakking, trying to get rid of that stuff out of my system. It wouldn't come up. And I mean, I was literally just tripping off my butt for the longest time on this gasoline. Now I'm hoping it was all gasoline, because it could have been anything out there. I mean, they mixed stuff together, raced cars, put all kinds of stuff in everything. Probably old mothballs and turpentine, more likely. But yeah, I just remembered one from the I don't think it had much more of an effect on me than that for that day. But I was burping gasoline. I was staying away from any open flames, and back then all the relatives smoked. I stayed away from everybody because I just did not want to go kafooey. Anyway, that was just remembered from when I swallowed those pellets and told that story to this one. So, well, the gopher's really warmed up. Like I said, it's not that cold out there. We're going to get in and try and finish this trip. And I probably will be able to remember something else that I inadvertently took a big swig of. Oh, yeah, I do have some other ones that I could tell about, and I will. So, we're going to get going. Let's ride. That was swift. But yeah, I remember there was a couple other times that I had taken things, swallowed things that I thought were one thing but weren't something else, and you thought that I would have learned by then. I may have told the story before. I can't remember after 2.5 years of saying all this, but there was a time when I was out on the farm, and we were out in the truck driving someplace and whatever. Out in the truck driving someplace or whatever, and there was a Pepsi bottle on the dash, and we'd have been out all day long, and I was really dying of thirst, and I just needed something, and I asked them if I could have a drink of their Pepsi, and they said yes, and I went and grabbed it and started to take a swig of it and stuff to quench my thirst after being so dehydrated, dry, and in that sun all day out in the field. And it wasn't Pepsi. It was spit from Chew. They thought it was funny. I was about to whoop on somebody. Spit all that out. There was another time, you would have thought I'd learned my lesson back when I was dating my ex-wife. And she always had a bottle of Pepsi between her legs while she was driving in her truck. And I asked her one day if I could have a drink of it because I was whatever. Not thinking back to the craziness. I mean, that first time it was just sitting on the dash and stuff. This time it was between her legs, you know. And I didn't figure she would be carrying something around if she was spitting in it. So, actually, I didn't even think about it. I was thinking about other stuff. Anyway, she said, yeah. She made a funny face and said, yeah, should have told me. Should have told me right there. But no, my big head wasn't thinking. Anyway, I take a swig of that and nearly lost my mind. It was probably 10% Pepsi and 80-90%. Yeah, let's figure this out. Math, not my strong point. Yeah, 90% rum. Bacardi's 151. That's what she drank. So I come to learn after that she would open a brand new Pepsi, pour all out except for a little bit, and then fill it up with the Bacardis and drive around in her truck for a couple hours drinking that. In case she got pulled over, she thought, I guess, it would be that they wouldn't do anything. But anyway, I take a big swig of that, and that should have told me something about her right there. Right there, that should have told me something. But no. Anyway, those are a couple of instances. We're going to get in here. I'm going to start this day. It is a wacky one so far. I'm going to go in here and do my thing. Y'all, please, take care of each other. Do your thing. See ya!
Story time is